right, so welcome to PostSQL Python. So now that you've done your basic Python, you figured out about how that works. You've probably done some code wars now. Hopefully, you have done some of your code wars now, gotten some more experience with Python, a little bit of fluency with it. Well, now what we're going to be doing is working specifically with the data part of Python. And Python by itself doesn't have great data holding stuff. And we're actually going to see an example of this in the next document. But we can do what's called importing things. And what that means is somebody else out there has created a really useful tool, and we say, hey, we want to import that into Python. And Python's got a great bunch of these. You can find them with the Python package index. Excuse me. Didn't mean to burp into the microphone there. Python package index is a variety of ways of installing some of these. We're not going to be installing anything here, but you could find similar things to what we're using. And so if you wanted other versions of regex, and people make these, right? So like this is just, I could make one of these this afternoon, right? And build one of these things. We could say data analysis. What comes up here? What are the most popular things? We'll just click on this one and see what it is. Be aware that some of these do. Yeah, so you want to make sure that it's a fairly recent one and that it's being maintained. This clearly is not being kept up upon. I don't know what that is doing exactly, but that's the idea. And there obviously you can Google like what are the best Python packages for whatever and find stuff. We're just using one called regex, and regex actually comes with Python, sort of. And so essentially what happens is when you download Python on your computer, this stuff gets put on your computer, but it's not always available. Because again, if we're going to say, hey, I want to put something online, like an application online, and it needs Python, we want kind of only the parts of Python that are going to be needed. We don't want to include absolutely everything because we have to pay for that space if we put something out on the internet. And so this stuff exists on your computer, but anyways, you have to actually tell Python to go look for it. Otherwise, it will not work. So these are called packages or extensions. And so that is what we're going to be using. And there's one for regex, and it's notated with RE. And that's just what it's called. It's a module that we're bringing in, and that's just fine. So how do we use regular expressions? Well, we're going to use compile. And this, as it says, it predetermines the string to be used in regular expression methods, right? And so regex is really useful for filtering things, for searching for things, kind of. You still have to build the engine for the searching part, but this will give you like anyways, we'll see all this stuff. We'll see how this works shortly enough. I'm going to say pattern equals re.compile, and I'm going to look for A, B, C, D. Okay. And this doesn't do anything yet. I got to run the cell. Great. I didn't actually import it. So now I've imported it. I'll run this again. There we go. And now this document knows what we're looking for. Well, what we can do here is we're going to create a new variable here called match. And we're going to say pattern.match. And so pattern is, again, this thing, right? So it's going to include this set of values, and we're going to match to some other thing, right? So here we have, some string goes here. And what's going to happen is match is going to be the kind of the value here of what's going on. And we're going to have to find a way of accessing it. But we got pattern. We're going to take this stuff. We're going to go look for it and kind of take pattern and the other stuff and see if there's a match in there. That's why we're going to use matches. We're just matching two different things, seeing if it works. So we're going to say A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, right? That'll be fine. We can print match, and then we get kind of a weird thing back here. So we get a re.match object, right? So again, we've made our classes, and so this is a custom class, right? Regex match object. And the span goes from 0 to 4, but this is the important part that we really want to see here. This just tells us how long it is. So obviously it goes from 0 until the 4th index. But the part that matches is, in fact, A, B, C, D, right? And so I could actually change this to 1, 2, 3 if I wanted to. run this and then do this again, and you'll notice that it's grouchy. That wasn't what we wanted. Did you really run? I should have brought something else back. I'm going to go back to ABCD. Whack. All right. Print match dot span, and we should be able to get, there we go. So again, we get that 0 to 4 there. And actually, the website I want to show you is called Regex1. So this is going to be your best friend for this entire section, because this section can frankly get a little tricky. So I'm going to say my regex expression here, I want to be set for Python. It doesn't really matter, but and I'm going to be using match for the function. And what this is going to do is it's going to actually match this and this, right? And so I can just do ABCD. That's fine. And so here I can do ABCD 1, 2, 3. And sure enough, it says match 1. This is my whatever the span, and that's what ends up coming back, right? Which is great. There's also a whole quick referencing here. So if you're like, how do I do this thing? Or if you're looking at regex sometime and you're like, what does P mean, right? And so then you can find things, or what's a question mark, right? So then you can see what that is, which is pretty useful. And there's a lot here. You do not have to know all of them. That is not the goal. I just want you to be able to use some of this stuff. Yeah, I don't know why. So it comes back here, obviously. And it is, yeah, again, it matches the characters 1, 2, 3. This is a nice little explanation section too of what's going on. I highly recommend you plug everything that you're doing into this just to check it out. It will help you out a lot with understanding regex. But you can see I could have, a massive dictionary. This is a book about 1, 2, 3, and the ABCD Friends Club, right? And so now, like, whatever it is you're searching, this could be a whole book, right? And I could look for, is ABCD in here, right? And sure enough, it is. And so it comes back and it tells us where it is, etc. Which I'm a little bit baffled why that didn't come back with what I was looking for, but that's fine. You can see obviously that it does match. There was something funky going on there. But that's how we use match. Find all. We're going to do finders equals pattern dot find all, right? And so match will just pull back 1. Pretty sure. Oh, there we go. We got both of them. Okay, that's fine. Find all. Let's see. Will you use help instead? Oh, it needs to be read.find all. Yeah, okay. There we go. Help on function find all in module RE. Find all, it takes a pattern of some sort. It takes a string. It returns a list of all non-overlapping matches in the string. If one or more caption groups are present in the pattern, return a list of groups. This will be a list of tuples if the pattern has more than one group. Empty matches are included in the result. Alternatively, let's try this one and see what we get here. Try to apply the pattern at the start of the string, returning a match object, or none if no match was found. So that's the difference with match. It's at the start. And so we might be better served using find all, depending on what it is we're looking for. And it's odd because I think Regex 101, I guess this match here is just a kind of a catch-all here. I think there's slight differences between what's going on, but that's kind of the overall idea that we're working with here. Okay, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. That's a really cool thing that they have here, but that's way beyond what we're doing, and it's more for developers. So, anyways, that's the difference between match and find all. I was kind of suspecting that it was a start thing. So let's finish this off. Uncomment that, and what we're going to put in here is going to be kind of nonsense. 1, 2, 3, ABCD, ABCD, 1, 2, 3, ABCD, ABC, ABC, ACB. Great. I don't need that anymore. And we're going to print finders, right? Let's see what actually shows up here, right? And so we've got ABCD, 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 and that would be right here, and right there. Again, we can put this in here as well. So if I were to put this string in hither, There you go. It will tell you where they are. And the nice thing with this one is it actually gives you the span as well, which can be useful. It's just not always feasible to plug whatever you're searching into here, especially if you're searching through a database. All right, and then re.search. Let's check this one out. Help research. And see what this one brings back. Okay, it scans through a string looking for a match to the pattern, returning a match object or none if no match was found. So this one will just bring back 1, and then it will stop. So let's we'll do random string. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D, A, B, C. All right, and search equals pattern.search random string. And we're going to print back search. All right, so it pulled back ABCD right there, and we get all our information back from it. That's delightful. And we can just say span equals search.span. That's a function we can run on it, that .span function. And we're going to print span and then type of span and see what we get back there. It's kind of interesting. We get back 12 to 16, and that is a class tuple, right? Which is great. But Brandon, I want to get back this thing. Well, it's a little bit odd that you're going to search for ABCD and then want to get ABCD back. Little odd thing. Just logically, why would you do that if you already have ABCD? Just say either yes or no and then take the original thing. But anyways, I digress. I'm opinionated and a little ornery. But what you would do then is you'd say print random string, and you could do span 0 till span 1, right? Because again, our span is right here, right? When we printed out span, we got this. And so the 0th index will be 12, and the 1th index will be 16. But we're going to end up passing that back in. Oh, wait, I did the wrong thing here. I was going to say, that seems weird. I was like, that's not going to work. Because it wasn't. There we go. So now we're going to be slicing random string and just getting back. And this, again, will calculate span 0 will come out as 12. And so this will go from the 12th index until the 16th index, which is that. So when I print this out, we should get back out ABCD. And again, if you're like, Brandon, I'm not quite sure exactly what you're asking here. I'm just doing the same thing. Same thing. I'm just letting the span calculate that, because then if I were to add, more stuff in here, right? Do it again, 20 through 24, and because I hard coded this here, we're still getting back whatever was at those characters, which isn't what we wanted. So anyways, that's how we would do that. I'm going to undo that so it makes sense for your notes. There you go. Cool. Sets. So couple other, so these are sets, and these are not the same thing as like sets when we talk about them normally in Python, right? Like sets and frozen sets, things like that. What we're working with here is going to be the following cells allow you to use regular expressions. So these sets are different like groupings of characters that we can check. And so there's a variety of these. We can do integer ranges. So let's do this first. We can do pattern int equals re.compile. We're going to put in a string here. And this is where things get really funky pretty quickly. 0 to 7, 7 to 9, and then 0 to 3. And that's that. And what this will do is our first digit will have a 3-digit number that we're going to be looking for. It has to be between 0 and 7, and then between 7 and 9, and then from 0 to 3. And only if we have a 3-digit number somewhere in there that meets those requirements will this work. So random numbers equals pattern int. So that was our first variable there on line 1. Dot search. And remember, dot search was one we just used here. Okay. Why did we get this much stuff back? Oh, that's something else. That's why, right? And this will just find the first thing and bring it back, which is great. So we're going to be searching 67383. And then we've got to find some way of seeing it. And so we're going to say span equals random numbers dot span, and then print random numbers, and then we're going to take span 0, which is fine. And we'll see what that brings us back. And there we go, we get 673, right? So that was our first thing there. That really worked. We could also do this. What happens if I change this to a 3? No such group. Okay, so it throws us an error if it doesn't work. I could change this up to a 4 and this up to a 4, though, and I bet we'll get something back. I don't believe you. Dun, 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 dun. Two to 5. So again, it's saying that from here to here is okay. We'll do this. This is probably our issue. Random numbers span 0. So again, that should be 2. From 2 until 5. This is part of just how debugging goes. Oh, that's because it's the actual. What does this look like here? Yeah. Okay. So it's not sure what to do with this here. If we had done this though, my nums equal 67383. And then instead of this here, we could have passed in my That's really chaotic typing. Still no group, and that's fine. But that's because what we want to do here is my nums. There we go. And now we get the actual digits that are back. We can put this back, I think, to a 3 now. You can't see my control key. Yeah. That's what I was trying to do that whole time. You just got to do it. Just got to finagle it a little bit. And so that's all that we wanted. Nice. Cool. We can also use character ranges, right? So I'm going to do a char pattern. Char pattern equals re.compile. And we're going to use A through Z, A through Z. Found equals char pattern dot find all, and we're going to look for hello there, Mr. Anderson with an O. Great, and we're going to print found, and we're also going to use help, and we're going to check out re.compile and see what that does. Right, so compile is a regular expression pattern returning a pattern object. So, what is happening here? So, we have an uppercase letter followed by a lowercase letter. And what happened is it went over this string here and looked for the pattern of an uppercase letter followed by a lowercase letter. And so it brought back he, Mr., Ann, right? If I changed the S to a capital, to a capital S, and run it again, sure enough, it brings that back. So that's what's going on there. And what's nice about this is it's a range. It goes from A until Z. It could be literally any letter. If I change this to C, right, this no longer comes back because that A is no longer accepted, right? And so that's why we have that the way that is. Pretty nifty. We're at 19 minutes, so I'm going to stop at counting occurrences. Yeah, we just have a little bit of text to keep writing. But that's the first part of regex, and I'll see you in the next lecture.